Okay, cool. Thanks for starting the recording. The way that we're recording the submission of consensus today, rather than using Hive like we're doing for the Fractal Genesis group, is to just post it in the Zoom chat while also recording both the video and the Zoom chat at the same time. And then we'll post that on YouTube or IPFS or something like that. So if anybody is able to record with OBS, something like that, and get both the chat window as well as the video, then that would be much appreciated.
So the way I'm doing it is I just don't have Zoom in full screen. If you don't have Zoom in full screen, the chat can be on the side. It's like attached to the side. And then I just have a window capture in OBS for this whole window.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not able to do it right now because I'm sharing my screen, and for some reason Zoom makes it so that you can't do it. But thanks very much, James. You might be the only one who can do it right now. But if anybody else can do it, that would be much appreciated as well. And welcome, everybody. Good to see you, Martin.
Hey there.
Hey, Martin.
Pleasure to join you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining. Great to see you.
Absolutely. It's nice that these are more in my time zone a little bit. Like 13 UTC is easier for me to join. Those other ones, the Fractal Saturday meetings, they were always like after midnight for me. And then I'm getting so hyped up that I can't sleep till 4. Wasn't as healthy as joining this meeting is. So yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully this time will work better for people in similar situations as you, Martin. But I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for being here. It'd be nice if we could get a few more people. So if you want to just send the Zoom link to some people before we go into the breakout rooms, we would really appreciate it. The intention of the meeting, Dan is going to cover in this presentation right here. We're going to basically go through this presentation, and then we're going to go into our breakout rooms similar to what we do on Saturdays, or if you're not familiar to what we do on Saturdays, then what's talked about in the Fractal white paper. The presentation is going to explain most of this. And if you have any questions, maybe we can address them if they're pertinent to what we're going to do in the breakout rooms, but then we'll go into the breakout rooms. This is our first time doing this with the Eden members and with this particular group. So there might be some hiccups, but it's going to be a little bit different than what we do on Saturdays, especially the follow-up component. Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Thanks, Josh. Well, so I made a presentation, and just to kind of give an overview of the logistics, kind of like how Joshua does during the Saturday Fractally meetings. But hold on a second. Sorry about that. Since I'm sharing my screen, I couldn't find my mute button. But anyway, I was saying that I made a presentation to just share the logistics of how the voting works and so forth, kind of like how Joshua does on Saturdays. And Joshua, feel free to jump in if I missed anything, or if anybody else has any thoughts. This whole thing has been kind of a rush since we kind of decided to just put together these events on a 2-week notice, and then put this presentation last night. So we'll see how it goes, but I think that we'll have a good event, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, thanks everybody so much for joining. And then also I put here introduction starting at 13:05. So I suppose we can wait 2 more minutes before getting started with the actual presentation, if anybody has any thoughts before then.
Yeah, just jump in, because maybe people will have questions after and don't want to take too long before getting into the breakout rooms.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So the itinerary for today is to have an introduction starting now, and then at 13:15 UTC in about 11 minutes, we'll break that into breakout rooms of 6. If we have less than, if we don't have an even number, then we'll break up into groups of 5. Right now we have 10, so we break up into 2 groups of 5, and then after 40 minutes, the breakout rooms will end. We'll have 40 minutes to reach consensus, which I'll explain more about. And then right after we leave the breakout rooms, then we'll post the consensus in the Zoom chat. As I was just saying, that's the way we're going to be posting consensus, rather than posting on Hive, and we're recording it via video. And then at 1400, in about 55 minutes, then we'll just kind of open it up for open discussion, and we'll kind of open it up for having an open discussion. And I'll also be sticking around for about an hour after then. I'm happy to discuss. If anybody else wants to stick around for longer, that's cool too. So first off, thanks everybody so much for being here. Thanks. Most people on this call have been playing like a pivotal role in like starting this Eden Fractal. So thanks so much for everything, everybody. And then thanks for joining us too. Thanks for Desert Guy for joining for the first time. And thanks for Dwayne and everybody. It's great to see you here. And Martin, of course. So thank you. This is the Eden Fractal, or at least that's what we're calling it right now. There might be other names as well in the future. And what the goal here is to empower Eden contributors with EOS, Eden Respect, and NFTs. And this is the first ever Eden Fractal event. We are recording, so we're recording the video of both the Zoom video and the Zoom chat for consensus purposes. And then the video will also be shared on social media for just sharing purposes and to help spread the word in the future. And enjoy very much. I hope everybody has fun. So the goals for this event, to be more specific, are to help Eden, help EOS. That's that James and I were talking about. So help Eden, help EOS, and also just have fun. And then the itinerary, which I just went over. So first we'll break out into the breakout rooms. We'll go into groups of 5 or 6, and then we'll have 40 minutes to reach consensus. And the Zoom room will end at 40 minutes. And so we really need to make sure that we reach consensus within that 45-minute time span. And we'll be ranking contributions to Eden and EOS. That's basically what we'll be coming to consensus about. So to do it, we'll rank the people in your room, their contributions from 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, and we'll rank according to who's doing the most helpful contributions for Eden and EOS, generally speaking. And then after we come to consensus, we have rank 6, we have rank 5, we have rank 4, and so forth. Then we'll write the EOS account name of each person according to the order that they're ranked in consensus. So rank number 6 is the highest, rank number 6 is the most helpful, and also everybody is helping just by participating as well. So people don't really need to be super focused or focus at all or actively contributing to Eden or EOS. Just being here is helpful in itself. It's super helpful in itself. So feel free to invite friends who are just looking to learn about it. And then over time, everybody has an opportunity. If they want to do more help, more contributions and help more, then they can. But yeah, basically, during those 40 minutes of consensus rooms or 40 minutes of breakout rooms, we'll all rank contributions according to who's helping Eden and EOS and the most. So whoever's helping the most will be ranked number 6, and whoever's helping the second most will be ranked number 5, and so forth. But it's up to each group of 5 or group of 6 to come to consensus. And to form consensus, the group needs to reach 66% agreement about the order. And so there needs to be a supermajority of people in agreement about how much people are helping. And then afterwards, post the consensus in the Zoom chat. So then all participants will earn respect, EOS, and NFTs. But people only earn the EOS and the respect if they reach the 66% consensus, and they post that in the Zoom chat afterwards. So the rewards, like I mentioned before about the EOS, you can earn EOS. We're giving away, right now I'm giving away 100 EOS per week that I raised from Pamela and Eden on EOS as a delegate, and this will be distributed to people participating here according to the Fractal consensus process. So people who get ranked number 6 will receive more than people ranked number 5, and so forth. And we have that at least for the next few weeks, and then we'll aim to raise more funding in the future. And then you can also earn respect too. So we're accounting for respect with the Fibonacci ratio, and we can go into more detail about that later. And then also NFTs. So Chuck McDonald has been making really awesome NFTs, and he's about to provide links. So everybody who attends this meeting will receive an Eden NFT. The way it'll work is I'll send you a link, or Chuck will send you a link where you can download it. And hey, Chuck, welcome, Chuck. It's good to see you here. You came at just the right time, it seems like.
Mic check.
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you, Chuck. It's working. Good morning. And also welcome Marco as well, and Vlad. Yep. So I'm not exactly sure that it works yet, but I think that we'll send out the NFTs via links, and I think I have everybody's contact information, so I'll just send it to y'all after the call. And so there's a bit of an echo right now. I'm not sure what that's about. But anyway, I'm almost done, so I'll just wrap it up here. So anybody can ask questions or anything like that if you'd like. But yeah, I was just saying that you have to reach 66% consensus in 40 minutes and post in the Zoom chat afterwards. And that's the way we're recording consensus rather than posting on Hive. And in order to earn the EOS and respect, you need to post it in the Zoom chat. And then this is the formatting. So basically you just say rank 6, rank 5, and so forth, and you have the EOS account name next to it. And that's what we'll post in the Zoom chat afterwards. And I think that's it. So please feel free to share any questions or thoughts. And thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you all enjoy.
Very good, Dan. Thank you. I want to clarify, when we go into the breakout rooms, what we're doing is as a group, we're coming to consensus on which recent contribution to basically the mission of Eden, which with the adoption of the new bylaws is something along the lines of create value for the EOS ecosystem. Which contribution that is shared as people go around sharing their recent contributions, do the majority of the people in the room agree should be allocated the most amount of, in this case, EOS, as well as matching respect. Is it matching respect? Is that what we're doing? I guess we can figure out those logistics later. And yeah, there's different ways. Yeah. There's different ways that you can come to consensus, but one way that works is for basically everyone to or the majority to decide on which contribution, just decide on the largest one first. And then whatever your process is to do that, then do the next one. And you just continue going down. You're not ranking an individual. You're ranking just whatever contribution they're presenting, that it might be them as an individual, or it might be something that they were part of as a team. Again, this is the first meeting, so everything's going to be kind of rusty here. But then once if you do it before the end of the breakout room time, or if you can't really do it after the breakout room, so definitely by the end of the breakout room, you need to have come to consensus. So generally speaking, you want to kind of share a contribution as concisely as you can, and you want to spend most of the time coming to consensus. You can change your consensus along, if you want, along the way, before the breakout room closes. And you can, if you're done, you can have time to just kind of like chat and hang out and stuff like that. So it becomes like a little bit of a social meeting. So when you get in your breakout room, the first thing you'll want to do, because not everybody knows everyone's Hive account, EOS account, you want to post your EOS account in the breakout room chat. You can also add it to your, you can rename yourself here in Zoom and just add it in parentheses like some people have done. And it just makes it easy to reference. And then someone in the group, ideally it's just one person, would kind of keep track as you're keeping consensus on which EOS account is going to receive the tokens, for this contribution, and as well as the matching respect. And so the format of that, Dan, you had said it was going to be like just identify that this is rank number 6, which is the highest rank, and then 5, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1, if we have that many people, which it looks like we might. Then after that, we can maybe talk about it post meeting, but after that, we're going to use a different process so all of that has to go in the Zoom chat. Everybody has to post the correct consensus result. So if one person is keeping track of it for the group, everyone needs to verify that's correct. And then you're just going to copy, and you're going to come back and paste that in the main Zoom room. And that's how we're going to do it for now. It's going to be that kind of a manual process. However, there is going to be all of that. Everyone's consensus results are going to be put into a string, into, I believe it's called a JSON object, if I'm not mistaken. And that string, you'll probably hear if you end up in a room with James. James has written a script. That string is going to get posted into blocks.io. James will probably be the one to do it after it's all formatted correctly and people have double checked it. And that will automatically disperse tokens and handle everything and put the consensus on chain. So this is what we're doing for the moment. Of course, we're open to ways to improve it. We don't have a software platform to handle this, but in the future, if this group chooses, we can use the Fractally software platform for that component. And also just want to echo thanks everyone for being here and supporting the initiative. I think there's value in doing something like this. And it's not possible if people don't agree and try it out and participate. Any other questions? You can I think you can unmute yourself, but you can also raise your hand if you want.
Josh, is it possible for you to define how many people max are in the breakout room?
Yeah, today it's going to be five to six. I'm gonna, because we have 13, I'm gonna sit out of the rooms. I might pop in just.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because I was also trying to figure out if we have this many. If we have 13 or 14 people, it seems like it wouldn't work with groups of 5 or 6. But
yeah, I think it's perfect for today.
You can participate, Josh. I got to hop off to another call. I just jumped in because I saw the link and just wanted to see. So I won't be able to be here for the whole time. So don't sit out. I'll sit out for that.
All right. Well, I might throw you in a room anyway if you're still here. Good point.
I was also going to say, Felix asked, can we open the Zoom recording permissions for everyone to record if they can? I'm not really sure how Zoom works too
I think
well.
I did for everybody here.
Oh, okay.
I think everyone has permission now to record locally.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm able to record as well now.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
Okay. Should we get started?
Yeah, it sounds like if you really don't know what you're doing, just I guess watch the other people, monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. Just the first meeting, no pressure. Let's see here. All right, breakout rooms open.
Hello?
You're in room 2, Dan.
I tried clicking it, but all right, I'll just hit join manually then. Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Josh. I'll join in now.
I'll probably be in that room too, actually.
Okay, there's 6 in both, so maybe it's best to join the other one.
Well, I think Chris is going to leave.
Okay, right. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
But I'm gonna wait and see though. Go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Josh.
Recording in progress.
All right, they're figuring it out.
Hey guys.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so it looks like this room's filled with Fractally veterans. So I think everyone here knows what to do.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, good to see you all. And I suppose, would anybody like to kick us off?
Jay, I'll give it a shot. I apologize for my EOS account. I'm definitely going to have to buy a personalized EOS name. So I don't know. I'll read it out if you have pencils or if you can cut and paste that thing. It starts with Q, QRJ1, WRJ, SCUHH. So sorry about that EOS account name, guys.
Okay.
And you can vote me down vote me for that one. I'm happy to be here. A lot of excitement about where we're going. I think it's a great opportunity for us to be pioneering the putting together Eden with the new Fractally. It's going to be a whole new chain mainnet process, and we can figure out how to use the smart contracting system on an exciting new chain. I think that in and of itself could be something that could help boost Eden and EOS in a way that's really helpful. So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to participate in that. My contribution this week is kind of funny. I invited Doug Wu to join Eden, and I got him inducted just on this past Sunday. He's part of the call. He's in the other breakout room. And there's so many different labels to call him, but he's a one-man performing arts megalomaniac is what he likes to refer to himself as. And so that's basically my contribution for the week. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. And yeah, Doug is a riot. And I'm very happy that he's here and joined Eden. So thanks so much for inviting him and also reaching out to me about that.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Do you want to nominate the next person?
Felix Ruiz.
All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this last week, Dan and I, we had that the Eden Town Hall event on Discord. Still, I've not much has changed with the Discord group other than like last week. I basically just cleaned out and organized to just only a couple rooms. But yeah, so my main contribution was talking about it. We had also Patrick from Nova Crypto. He did an interview with Dan and I asking about this event, and then also our weekly Discord event event show that we're going to be hosting weekly on Sundays. So yeah, that was my contribution for the week, and will be a good amount of my contributions moving forward, and seeing how we move in these groups. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, maybe if it should be in this group or in our breakout groups or like afterwards, but once we've kind of reached consensus, everyone maybe talk about like the things that we have held the most valuable, so that moving forward each week, then we can start to kind of align like what direction do we want to go, so that we can put out, I guess, basically, bounties is the wrong word for it, but like, hey, we would like to have this done. Anyone who's wanting to kind of do that, and whoever steps up and does that will be kind of, I guess, the ones that I would say that we value more of, for that next week. So yeah, this is kind of going off of my contributions. I just thought I would share that, because I think, what's different about this fractal versus the fractally is, yeah, we're now going to have to find our own direction, and that's going to be amongst the community, discussing amongst ourselves. And I think it'd be beneficial to do that some in the breakout rooms, and then also in the main room afterwards. So, but yep, that's my my contributions for the week, and I'm going to go off my screen. So Marco, you've been in like my rooms every single week in Fractally. I feel like the last 3 weeks, but so you're on my left screen. I'm gonna go with you.
Thanks, Felix. And I love that you got Doug to finally join Jay. He's part of the EOS translation team that I just joined a couple weeks ago. And I love that finally got a second Fractally group, especially with Eden. One of the things the EOS translation team to bring about is a stronger community voice, one that is clearly independent from the ENF. I love the ENF. I saw it grow. I covered it in the newsletter. And so I know that it's a core group of developers that came together out of the community. I would love that they were able to not only take over for B1, but far exceed expectations for B1, or let alone themselves. Still, anytime I've been working with information for the millennium, anytime information is funneled out of anywhere, there's a danger. So I had this idea of flash consensus, and that we were gonna start it at a pre-meeting with the EOS Translation Foundation before the Saturday Fractally meetings. I put it out once, didn't get much interest, but essentially you put out a statement that can fit on a Twitter line, on a Twitter share. So it comes to like 2 lines, really a long sentence or 2 very short sentences. Everybody reads that before coming into the meeting, and within 5 minutes we just vote on which is the most important one to get out. I suggested allocating some of the teams Fractally and Fractally Respect and some EOS to those who come in. Nominal, tokenal, but just to get the idea started. that if you have an idea, something that you see, and you're trying to get it out there in Telegram, you can come to this meeting in 5 minutes. If people see it as important, we can spread it. I know the USPs do marketing and stuff like that, but really wanted to get it more personal voice. So I'd love that for that to take off. And Eden being Eden and Chuck McDonald being vocal, and a lot of the chief delegates are kind of in the community talking. I thought Eden is a great place for something like that. As far as my other Eden contributions, I've been writing a weekly section on EOS Weekly, specifically for Eden, catered to Eden, and trying to help ingrain Eden into the community as both a governance and engagement. Really can't think of anything right now else. So I'll pass it off to Chris Barnes in case he's got to jump off.
Yeah, no, it's okay because I won't be able to. I shouldn't count. I'm just listening because I'm curious how this is going. Great conversation though. How about James? He's in the middle. I'll just hand it over to him to go.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris. Okay. Yeah. So I guess you all know me. I can skip an introduction. My contribution for the last week. I've been meeting with Dan Singjoy, Josh Seymour to kind of get this started. The initiative or the credit for the real initiative has to go to Dan Singjoy for that, but I've just participated in some of the calls and given some thoughts and ideas. My main contribution is that I actually wrote a smart contract on EOS. So it is not deployed on an account yet, but it is fully ready to be. So it's open source. It's on my GitHub. And the smart contract does a couple things. One, it'll allow us to set a membership agreement on the smart contract. So you set something that then people can sign. So there's a sign action, which just will allow people to indicate their assent to whatever the goal of this group ends up being. And that's part of it. You can also unsign it if you disagree. Then there's token related stuff. So the contract also includes the token contract for the new Eden token, which is I think what the ticker is going to be. At least that's the initial idea we had. But it'll have the tokens are untransferable, non-transferable, but they can't be issued except by the smart contract. So the smart contract controls the logic of how they get issued, which I'll get to. But eventually, when the token is transferable, then it'll be a simple update to the contract, and then people can trade the token. But it'll actually be a token. So if you're used to Fractally, we have the token in the spreadsheet, which I also think is actually a token. But this is just on the actual blockchain live, so where you can see it in blocks. That's really the only benefit, is you'll get to see it in your account. And then the last part, and probably the most important part of the contract, is that it does the stuff related to these consensus meetings. So there's some configuration stuff that the admins can set. The admins right now are just going to be hard coded to be the people like Dan Singjoy and Chuck and the other people that are running this. So there's some trust there. It's not a fully decentralized process yet. But at the end of these meetings, some admin can call the action submit ranks, which will be, they'll submit the full list of all of the rankings that we come to consensus on in these meetings. And two things happen. One, the new Eden token is distributed according to the Fibonacci sequence to all the participants according to their rank. And then two, EOS is distributed. So Dan is going to send EOS to this account, and then at the same time it's distributing the Eden, it will also calculate how much EOS to distribute according to the Fibonacci sequence. Like it's a little different because it's a fixed amount of EOS, so you can't just start at one, the first number of the Fibonacci, and grow. You have to take a maximum and then figure out how to split it with the Fibonacci ratio. So it does that math. It'll send out the EOS, and then everyone here can get their reward in both EOS and Eden. And the contract's done, and there's unit tests for it and everything. I might add a few more unit tests, but it's ready to be deployed. I'm just waiting for Dan to finish up getting the account set up. I think he bought a premium name, and he's going to set up some account, and we'll deploy it there. That's it. And I'll pass to Mel. If you're there.
Is Mel here just listening?
Sorry. I'm on a train, so I won't be able to talk to you, sorry.
What was it, Mel? You said you're on a train, so you won't be able to talk?
Yeah, I'm on a train, so I'm just listening in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Mel. And good to hear from you. And I hope you enjoy your train ride. And I suppose that I'll go now. And yeah, thanks so much, James, for all that. That's super helpful. And yeah, thanks everybody so much for all the amazing work. Also, because we're doing a little different consensus mechanism here, or just like consensus submission process, we only have 40 minutes because we're using the Zoom chat, so we only have 15 minutes to arrive consensus. So I'll just give like a really quick presentation here of things I'm doing. So yeah, I've been I built the website, and I've been working a lot with James and Felix and Jay and Marco and pretty much everybody here to start up this Eden Fractal, so people can check it out at edenfractal.com, where there's like links to RCP. You guys have probably all already seen this, but for people who are watching the recording, I suppose this might be new for you. So built a website to just kind of give a basic idea of what the Eden Fractal is, and then I also just wrote some details, and I also wrote the presentation that I showed before at the beginning of this meeting to kind of just give an overview and welcome people who aren't familiar yet. I'm doing this with Eden creators. It kind of started out first where a few weeks ago, I started making a proposal for Eden Fractal events, and then it was basically this idea to give it 100 EOS per week and account for respect, and then I shared it at the Moving Eden Forward meetings that Joshua's been hosting, and then we were discussing it there amongst many or all of us probably, and then James Mart reached out to me after like 2 weeks ago, and he said like it'd probably be helpful if somebody took the initiative and just kind of just started something. So that led me to start the website, and then after the next meeting after that, then I promoted it publicly for the first time. Joshua was kind of promoting it publicly too, mostly in the Eden members chat, but I spoke about it at the EOS Fireside chat for like 5 minutes or so to introduce it, and then I also promoted it and like hosted a segment about the Eden Fractal on the EOS Hot Sauce for a few minutes as well. This week I also claimed my Pomelo funding, and so that's some of the EOS that will be donated there in addition to the Eden funding that I'll be doing in the coming days. And I also purchased the Fractal account, and I'll be making the Eden.fractal account that James was referring to in the coming days, so we can send out the EOS and the respect and whatever else, and then I also briefly promoted the Eden Fractal during this week's Fractally meeting, kind of during the after meeting part of it, and just shared it with everybody there. And then also, as Felix was talking about, I co-hosted with Felix the Eden Town Hall on Discord, where we spoke mostly about the Eden Fractal, and we spoke with Jay was there, and Marco asked about it, but yep, we spoke about Eden Fractal mostly there and helped promote and talked about Eden in general as well. And then I've also just been active in the chats and just like learning about Eden, of course, and following everything. And then I also participated, as Felix said, in the interview with Patrick from Nova Crypto. We were working on like the best way to promote this together a bit. So he made this tweet. And then this video, I put together this thumbnail to make it look like cool and exciting and fun, and then also he posted that on Biowire as well, which is really more Patrick's credit than mine, but I figure it's cool to share here as well. And then I also just made the Twitter account Eden Fractal, and that's that for my contributions. And yeah, once again, thanks everybody so much for being here. I mean, thanks for listening to this, but thanks everybody so much for being here. This is like super exciting, and I'm so appreciative of everybody who's helping and being here.
Dan, do we have 40 minutes from the time the meeting started? The breakout room started, or
Yeah, that wasn't clearly defined because we started like a minute or two late. So
but if we do, then we should have 20 more minutes right now because we started at 15, right?
we started at 15. Oh, yeah. I guess I messed up then. I think I messed up my math.
Okay, good.
So, yes, we do have
I have
21, 22 minutes left or so.
Cool.
I have another meeting after this, at 10 actually.
Okay, yeah, that's why we figured that we'd end it 5 minutes early so that we have time to come back to the main room and just get consensus in the Zoom chat and get that on video. And then we can have 5 minutes to just like briefly discuss rather than being rushed off and having everybody have a meeting immediately after.
Cool. All right, I would like to nominate Dan for the position 6.
I'd like to second nominate him for the probably providing the greatest momentum to making this happen. And then James, the amount of stuff you did to put this stuff on the blockchain is impressive already. I was going to put you 6 until I just forgot about how far back Dan ties to this.
I agree. I think, Marco, I think that's an excellent point because one, not the only metric, but one metric is who in this room has been indispensable. And arguably James should get that. Well, we couldn't really get this rolling in the vision of smart contracting unless we had James. So I kind of was leaning with Marco's like that's so important and critical that James could arguably get the number 6. But if you look at the amount of influence that Dan had to exert to put this whole package together, I think Dan Singjoy should get the number 6 slot, and then James. So I'm in agreement with Marco.
Yeah, the reason I wouldn't put myself 6 is because the smart contracts are optional. You don't need a smart contract to get this going. You do need somebody to actually step up to the plate and make it happen, which is what Dan did. So the smart contracts are, I think, quite valuable. But I think Dan taking the lead here is really what we owe this to entirely. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that would be, I also agree. So I'd say we're unanimous on 1 and 2. And just also another thank you, you guys. You guys are doing awesome work, and Dan, you're a grinder, and I'm glad that I'm glad I'm co-hosting with you on the Eden show or the Discord. And James, that's sweet to see. It's gonna be cool too because I feel like there's a possibility of also learning the way that you just explained how you're structuring the smart contract. I think that would be awesome to get some content around. Maybe we can set up something and you kind of take us through like what you did. I mean, we have this recording too, but that in itself too is like, I think an eye opener for some people of like, oh, wow. Okay. It was like, I mean, you made it sound simple, maybe a lot more complex, but it also did, I think for developers also make them think like, wow, okay. So they just made a contract and it took, in a week, the possibilities of being able to do that on EOS is huge. So,
we can talk more about it at some point, but I'm in love with the CL SDK for ES development, which is what the Clarion team put together, a year ago. I don't know if people are using it yet, but it makes contract development on ES so freaking easy. It's so good.
That's cool.
Nice.
All right. So for 654, position 4, what are we thinking?
So I would say Felix. I feel like Felix has done a really helpful job in helping to promote this, both at the town hall and then also in the interview with Patrick, and then also in taking a leadership role with the Discord as well. Felix has been organizing that, and then he's also been sharing a lot of really exciting plans for the town halls in the future. And also I didn't get a chance to respond to, but I'm very excited to be working on that with you as well, Felix, and your grinder as well. And then, yeah, I agree. What James is doing is amazing, and I also appreciate everybody's support and so forth as well. But yeah, then that might also be my bias because I'm working closely with Felix, and I hear a lot of like the great ideas that he's sharing and stuff like that, and I'm seeing some of the stuff behind the scenes. But he's also doing a lot of stuff publicly as well. That's super helpful in terms of helping to lead the community and so forth. I also really appreciate what Jay and Marco are doing as well. But my I guess vote would be for Felix to be number 4.
This is about Eden, but the medium is this meeting, and for the people that are associated with it, it's Joshua, it's Dan, and it's Felix. So I second Felix for 4 rank points.
I agree with that. I think it's for me, that would be an easy consensus to agree that Felix should get the number 4 slot. And I think Discord setting up the infrastructure for our network communications. And I agree with Dan's point about Felix's vision for the town hall. I think that's over time, creating the vision now and keeping it rolling consistently will be a great help to building the networked community for the Eden Fractal included in that town hall. It may not be the sole purpose of it, but it's a helpful launching pad for it. And then I know that Mark, and then so if we have consensus on Felix, then I want to nominate Marco for the number 3 spot, because I'm very interested to see, he has a creation of the Flash consensus. He saw a need, he took action and introduced it to the community. And I want to make sure, I want to put him up there for that purpose so that we can bring attention to projects that get introduced so that they can be evaluated and looked at and potentially add value. So if we have consensus on Felix, then I also nominate Marco for the number 3 slot.
Marco, can you post a link to the EOS Weekly thing in the chat by chance that you build?
Yeah, it's on CryptoWriter. I'll grab your link real quick. I posted it in Telegram chats this week.
Okay. I just wanted to like check it out real quick because I don't think I've seen that. But I guess
the Flash consensus is not there though.
Okay, that's all right. I think so. Have we actually used the Flash consensus, or is it just?
We have not, and the Flash consensus is merely composing a statement that's shareable. We can easily vote on it. Here is the latest weekly, but I haven't written anything on the Flash consensus there. It's essentially, we come in with an idea. The idea I posted last Saturday was, will EOS EVM bring in an influx of Ethereum maximalists into our culture? It was just a question. And the idea is, if you have a project, sure, but the idea is, what is a prevailing sentiment in the chats that may not make it to the ENF, and then just bring it here. Since you already prepared an idea, everybody can vote on that before they ever enter the meeting. It's just a visual thing that we can eventually translate in some form of fractal distribution. But yeah.
So I just wanted to say it's definitely not obvious to me how to rank these bottom 3 contributions. I could make a case for probably all 3 of you, because we haven't mentioned it yet since it was originally said, but Jay inviting Doug Wu, I mean, that's adding a new member to the community. I think growing membership is extremely important. And that doesn't happen every week. So like, that's the kind of thing when that happens on a given week, it's kind of a shame to me if, I mean, it's actually, Jay, you're going to be in the position 2 because we only have a group of 5 that are being ranked. So that's good if we go with the way that it seems like consensus is going. But I just wanted to draw attention to that. That's like a not as common thing, and it's really valuable. So I think that's great. Marco, this is actually quite a significant post. And I think content creators like you and like Felix are also extremely needed. So these last three contributions are all pretty difficult for me to rank order. It sounds like
I just posted the form for the Flash consensus.
Okay.
Take a look. I'm just trying to spread that.
Yeah, so Flash consensus is a good idea. It's cool you're spearheading that. I think I am. I'm not going to hold up consensus. It sounds like we have for Felix on position 1, 2, 3, 4. So if everybody else is in agreement that Felix is 4, I am as well. But what do you guys think about the difference here in the? My two favorite contributions are the post that you have, Marco, and the inviting of Doug Wu. Like, I just want to single those. I want to single those two contributions out, and let's talk about those, like rank ordering those two, like a weekly newsletter type content and inviting a new member. How do you guys see those?
Inviting new members is top, and someone like Doug is blue chip.
So that's true. Inviting members is really important, but I mean, also it's not like Jay like invited Doug, from totally outside the community. Like Doug, I mean, not to reduce Jay's contributions at all. It's super helpful, and super grateful that Jay organized that. I was actually a witness, and Jay reached out to me and Chuck, and then that also inspired a really interesting and insightful conversation that we had for like an hour and a half. So that adds on to Jay's contribution, that he brought that together in addition to a bunch of other stuff that Jay did. But also there is value in content creation, in evergreen content creation, to attract people in the future beyond just inviting somebody for 1 week. And then Doug was also an active community member who, had Jay not been available that day, Doug probably could have asked somebody else as well. So just to provide some nuance there. And then also, Mel is here too. So even though Mel couldn't participate, speaking much, he's still here, and he still, spoke up. And I know Mel has been doing a lot of great work for the community for a really long time. So I do think that it probably would make sense to rank Mel. I think it makes sense probably to rank Mel number 1 for this meeting, because he hasn't been able to really participate. But I think that it does make sense to rank Mel, because Mel should get respect and so forth for attending this meeting as well, I think, and for his work.
Cool, I agree. Okay. Yeah, I think you might have convinced me that the evergreen content of the post would be ranked higher than inviting Doug Wu. Does anyone else have thoughts about that?
Just to add on a bit of my thoughts, I'm also very very not sure, split. I could go either way really, because they're both awesome contributions. And as I added, Jay's contribution to just bring me, Doug, and Chuck was really helpful as well, in addition to other things as well. So I'm not really advocating for one or the other. I'm maybe just kind of complicating it, but I'm happy to go either way as well.
You're clarifying it. It's good.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts, Felix?
Jay or Felix? Yeah.
I actually was the person who nominated Marcos. So, and I agree with the evergreen. So it looks to me, if Jay's able to push Marco forward, it would be Dancing Joy number 6, James Smart number 2, Felix Ruiz number 3, Marco number 4, Jay number 5, and Mel number 6. And then it's going to be tricky for me because I'm on a cell phone. If that's a consensus, then someone skilled at putting that in the chat would be great, so that I can just copy and repaste it.
Okay. Sounds good. And yeah, I'm happy with that consensus if everybody else is happy with it.
Yep. And I can write it in the chat, but you'll have to double check that I'm spelling your EOS names right. And I need an EOS name from you, Marco. Is that your EOS name in the name?
It's Rockwire for EOS. Yeah, that's
okay.
The objective of my EOS wallet that I picked up when EOS first started was actually part of the reason I write the newsletter and part of the reason for the independent voice through Flash Consensus is wire, like a stock ticker that you see in Manhattan. That's a wire. Not so much news. I actually have a comic about it where the header is now unobstructed, form your opinion. So in a wire, it's just raw info without any opinion at all. From wires are built information systems. So just so you know, my mock wire for EOS, my wallet is actually for that. I believe that was one of the downflows of Steemit and the motivation behind that.
Nice. Mel, if you're around, can you give me your EOS name?
One thing I was thinking about too.
My EOS name is Crypto Mel 1.
Crypto what?
Crypto Mel 1. Or Melvin Pierce. I've got 2 accounts.
All right, everyone check the chat, see if I spelled your EOS names correctly. Oh, I guess mine shouldn't be capitalized. Spelled my own wrong. Hang on, I'm gonna repost. All right, so if that's correct, then when we go back into the main room, so everyone copy that, and then actually, yeah, I guess we could do it now because I'm also recording now. So either one works. As long as everybody posts that in the chat, then we have it recorded.
Okay, cool.
Cool. And Mel, if you could also, I don't know if you can copy and paste with whatever device you're using and where you are, but if you can, try to copy and paste that into the chat. Nice. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Good work, everyone.
Yeah, great work.
Nice.
Dan,
Fractal 2.0.
yeah, it's going to work, Dan. This is going to be great. I think this is going to be really invaluable for the Eden and EOS community. I think it's one community.
Oh,
yeah.
One of the other reasons for the Flash Consensus is a deliverable. we have these meetings, and what I just saw today was in the second meeting was you have people online that never use blockchain, and they see something happen.
So Marco, hold on a second, because Mel is making some noises on his train, and also he wrote Crypto Trade 1, so I'm not sure if he got his name wrong when he was submitting it. Well, Mel, can you please clarify? Is that I'm not sure if that's the correct amount of characters. I think that's more characters than 12. But Mel, can you please clarify? Is Crypto Mel 1 a good account name for you, or is Crypto Trade 1 or the other one that you mentioned better?
That is 12 characters, by the way.
Is it? Yeah, okay. It seems like Crypto Trade 1 has an additional character from Crypto Mel 1. So one of those isn't right, I think.
Unless he bought an 11 character premium name.
I kind of doubt that would be the one he would choose.
All right, so you want to revise it to Crypto Trade 1?
Well, hang on, let's let Mel speak. Mel, what's the correct account for you?
His train went into a tunnel.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I suppose that we have consensus on video that that's his account, or not that that's his account, but that's him in that rank, and he has one of those accounts. So I suppose that we're okay if Mel's not able to respond, and then we can figure out the details afterwards about what the exact account name is.
Okay, I just checked on blocks.io. There is no Crypto Mel 1, and there is a Crypto Trade 1. So I'm going to repost the whole thing, and Crypto Trade 1, please everyone quickly copy and paste it after I...
Great. Thank you, James.
All right. I just added in the new one.
So I'm curious on you guys' thoughts on I mean, for now, I know we do what what's easiest, but moving forward, what about the using of what we have, like for our EOS account names that's listed on our Eden profile? I feel like makes sense, especially if we're gonna be having funds kind of basically moving within the Eden
Absolutely.
community.
So one counter argument to that is that I think this could actually open up to more than just Eden membership. So really anyone that wants to contribute to EOS could potentially join this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then
I think
that's something I think would be interesting that we probably maybe in these next couple of weeks we discuss as a community to kind of figure that out as well, because that was something that came up in I think it was our town hall with Dan and I about it was before Doug was an Eden member. If we're going to require you to be an Eden member since it's an Eden fractal, versus is it open to anyone who wants to join? I kind of lean more on it makes sense if that makes sense to become an Eden member. You're allowing yourself to become a part of this. But I also see where you guys are coming from as far as like basically we want to have anyone who wants to contribute and help EOS to be a part of this. So it's kind of
I feel like why limit our potential value adders to EOS? But we can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting and helpful discussion to have in the future. Probably not necessary or fitting for right here, right now. And then I'd also just like to say too, because we were planning on doing the 40-minute, but I think maybe Joshua had a big confusion. He sent a message that would end it at in 4 minutes rather than like a minute or two. But I just messaged Joshua ending a couple minutes early, so he might just end it at any moment now. I'm not sure. I guess we'll get a minute countdown soon. But yeah, I just want to also just pick up on what James was saying, and I think that this will be like super, super helpful. Like it feels like kind of just small off the cuff that we just joined right now, but I think that we could be at the beginning of like a tremendously exciting and helpful fractal and community for both Eden and EOS, and then the world as a whole, and also for helping people understand benefits of fractal governance and so forth too. So. Yeah.
Wait, don't leave. Do not leave the room. Do not leave the room yet.
It's an opportunity to.
Hang on. Mel just posted in the chat that he wants us to use his Melvin Pierce.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, everyone, but I just posted a third and final update. Mel, if this isn't the right account, this is where the EOS is going. So.
That's funny.
Okay.
All right. We good. That's 4 out of 6, which is consensus. 5 out of 6. All right. Very good. Now we can leave. Or Marco, if you had something last minute to say, then you have 10 seconds.
It's an opportunity to promote Eden or to regulate any negative feedback. That if you're here, you're either an Eden member or prospective Eden member. Writing on what Felix said.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
3, 2, 1.
See you guys.
Thanks everybody so much. Great meeting.
Recording in
I have a 9
progress.
o'clock meeting with EOS Jesse and Translate Me for language translation. Do I have to stay for this, or
No,
I'd
you
like
don't.
to. I'd like to, but
I think that's why Dan asked me to end it early, was maybe because other people have things to do.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I got
just
2 minutes.
please,
So,
Doug, before you go,
was anyone recording the window, including the chat in the breakout room that I was not a part of? Okay, so then in that case, can that breakout room, can you post your consensus results in the current chat?
Right, doing it.
Cool.
Yeah, if everyone could just post their consensus results in the main room, that would be helpful.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, technically, just showing up for the breakout room and doing this last step is really all you need to do to be a full participant. So, depending on the length of the breakout rooms, all of that could be done maybe in like 45 minutes if you're really short on time in the mornings.
yeah. Although for this one, we kind of just came up with this method of just using the Zoom chat and video recording over the past couple of days, and so that's why we wanted to make sure we had everybody in this room so that we can be sure to get the consensus and there won't be confusion later on.
Can I just say something real quick before everybody leaves? I have NFTs to give to everybody. I gave everybody in my room already one. So if you can, in the chat right here, just private message me. Chuck McDonald, just PM me if you haven't received one, and I'll send you a link for one. It's a claim link that you have to go to Atomic Hub and claim it. So just send me your, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Patrick.
Yeah, I send you my EOS account. Yeah.
I already sent you the claim link.
You send me a claim link?
Yeah, in the previous window.
But I don't see anything. Okay.
Yeah, one thing why you might not see it is because the collection is not verified yet. Therefore, you need to click the checkbox and also show not whitelisted NFTs. Then you will see it in your inventory.
I don't see the link of Chuck. I send him a message. I send him a message in the Zoom now. He say I received your message, but I don't receive your message, Chuck.
Okay, hang on a second.
And something strange when we leave a breakout room, it is written quit the meeting or quit the breakout room. And in the Fractal stand-up meeting on the Saturday, when you have finished with a breakout room, there is no possibility to make a mistake because you leave your breakout room and you join the main room. But today that was written quit the meeting or quit the breakout room. So if someone is not paying attention, he could quit the entire meeting.
Oh, I wonder if that's a new feature in Zoom or something.
Yeah, Zoom is a bastard, for sure.
Zoom has been pretty good to a lot of us, I think.
Yeah, I enjoy for the new version of Fractal about communication platform, WebRTC or something like that. We will see.
So just anyone message Chuck, maybe.
Now I have received the link of Chuck. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay.
Cool.
And I click there, and I will do a yeah baby claim.
Thanks, Chuck, for doing that. So, as long as you've posted your consensus results in the chat, technically you're free to go, so to speak. But if you want to stick around, I think
I have claim. I have received
the
NFT.
Just wait till you get that claim link from me, because I just closed the wrong window.
Thank you, Chuck. I have received my NFTs.
Awesome.
Also, that's changed my day. Bye.
And then, in addition to the NFTs, Jay,
just
that's kind of
one
loud,
second
Jay,
here.
I think.
All right, go ahead and unmute yourself, Dan.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Josh. And then Chuck was speaking, but Chuck was muted. I think that Joshua muted everybody because Jay was having some weird feedback sound. I'm not sure what exactly happened there. If you'd like to unmute yourself too, Chuck, and then say what you're going to say, then.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sorry, no, it just sounded like there was a dragon getting out.
Yeah, right. Oh, isn't it? I was going to add on too, if Chuck won't say something there, that so Chuck is doing the NFTs right now. Thanks so much, Chuck. And then also the EOS. The EOS and the Respect will be distributed in the coming days. We're just setting up the final touches on the contract and stuff like that. But that will be within the coming days. That'll be sent out to your accounts. And yeah, thanks again, everybody, so much for joining. And then like Josh was saying, I think that I don't know if people still need to get their links from Chuck, but basically we've completed the consensus, so congratulations and thanks everybody for participating in the first Eden Fractal meeting, or Eden Fractal meeting. Thank you so much. This has been our room was really fun and really exciting, and I'd be interested to hear what happened in the other room and how it went. I'll also be I have the next 57 minutes free. I don't have a meeting until an hour from now, so I'm happy to hang around and just talk and hear from people in the other room, or just hear for anybody's visions about how about what went well or what we can improve, or just thoughts in general about Eden or Eden Fractal or anything like that. So yeah, thanks so much, everybody.
One quick technical question. It looks like Mel he might have actually done that option that Patrick was pointing out. He might have just left and not come back to the main room. So I don't see his results posted here. Did he post them in the breakout room chat or something?
I believe he did. I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
I think that James is shaking his head no, but I think James said that we had 5 out of 6 consensus that was submitted. So if Mel did not, and Mel's also back too. He's on a train though, so he might not be able to listen or hear it. And James can't unmute himself, so how can we make it so James can unmute?
Go ahead, James.
If just everybody can unmute themselves if they want.
If everyone's going to be cordial.
I just will post into the
hold on,
chat.
Patrick. One sec, Patrick. Go ahead, James.
I was going to say, I think that Mel did not post in the breakout room because he was on a train or something. He was
okay.
But we got 5 out of 6 of everyone else to post the consensus results.
Thanks, Chuck, for the NFT. I got to fly out.
Awesome. Cool.
Thanks so much, Marco.
All right.
Thank
well,
you,
it's the first time. It's a manual process. This is very similar to how the other Fractal was started. It was a small group of people for the first meeting or two, and then I think it doubled or tripled after a little while. So the suggestion is if you like the experience and you sense something here, then the suggestion is to keep iterating and try to bring another member. The difference between Eden and Fractally, it's not limited to Eden, I hope, but it's more of like a EOS Fractal. The mission of Eden is to improve EOS, and that's something that's still being debated among people. So maybe this can help hash it out. But there's a pool of Eden members that can be tapped to participate in something like this, but it's not going to happen if you guys don't, see the value and encourage people to come. This time was chosen because there was a poll. This meeting was originally something else, and it adapted into this, which I think was a good idea. So if you need to change the time, you might want to do that in the early stages. But if this time works for everyone, then hopefully it works well. I would suggest keeping a similar time for people like Martin and stuff like that. But if you guys among yourselves decide let's slightly adjust the time in the day or something, might want to do that sooner than later.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you. So there is into the chat here, there is a link to the mind map, Eden Fractal, where you will find the video that I did with Felix Ruiz and with Dancing Joy to announce this event of today, where we do a shout out to Joshua Seymour that is here. And if you open this mind map on the left, you have the meta information on Eden Fractal. And on the right, there is a category named contributions, and that will be where the Eden contributors can do their contribution to Eden Fractal to make a proof of what they have made. Like for the Fractal stand-up meeting on the Saturday, there is a mind map. Here there is a mind map for Eden Fractal. That's a tool you can use or not. That's up to you. James Smart used after the Fractal stand-up meeting on the Saturday. He make always a copy recording of his breakout room. He put there for the prosperity. So that's nice. Like this, we minimize the Rashomon effect. And when we are looking backward, we cannot say that we have never said that. So that's recorded. That's the proof of contribution. So you can go into this mind map, and you have all in one place. That's links collected in one place. So what I want to say.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Patrick. I very much appreciate that the mind map. It looks awesome. And yeah, thanks so much for the interview as well, and then putting that all together. It's super helpful. Would anybody like...
How'd the other meeting go? So can anyone in the other room speak to how it went? Did it go smoothly? Were there any challenges or?
Just a whole bunch of assholes. It's good.
To be honest,
sorry.
Just wait,
we did the
Patrick.
countdown at the end. Just everybody say it the same. Enter number 6. You know, the top contributor. Everybody entered the name at the same time, and then down from there. So that was a neat idea. Discussions went well, and lots of excitement about whatever. The number one choice was the developer or a developer, and it was like, we need more Eden developers. You know.
I have a little remark. We say we want to avoid bias, and for this reason we say 3, 2, 1, 0, and we put the number 6 after the number 5, and etc. But the problem is, you have some people that are very fast and they put into the chat their response, and after you see the response and you are already biased because you put also your response. So indeed,
it's just a discussion. I don't think
there is not a solution to avoid bias.
Consensus
there will be always a little bias.
Consensus doesn't all have to happen at the same instant, right?
To be honest, that's a baby experience. That's just fantastic. Yeah, better than never for sure.
How'd it go with the other room, James?
Martin, you're muted. Can you?
Again, this puts us back to developers, right? The problem that we're having with like that we have this bias because some people type slower or faster is only because we're using Zoom UI. If we have our own UI and we choose this message, then you can do the reveal after everybody typed in, right? So there's no bias. So these solutions, with the way we're testing it right now, we need to make the notes and then give instructions to the developers, and then we have the tools that want. I like it that we can speed up the process like this, and then it's one option. Because like we were getting so much in the discussion in our room and getting to know and brainstorming and coming up with potential helping out each other or collaborating, that we wouldn't have made the consensus if we wouldn't have speed tracked that. And thanks for Joshua for giving us 20 minutes heads up. Because without that, we would be still talking in a room probably.
So I'm confused. So you were saying that there needs to be, or it'd be helpful to have some sort of improvement to the actual submission process, because you weren't able to type it in at the same time because people were typing it faster or slower. Understand that, or
let me break it down, because I've seen this in the Saturday events, because I'm the slow one in the room when this happens. So some people, there's different ways to achieve consensus, and some people like to at the same time put the person's it could be the Hive name in the case of Saturday, or so in this case it'd be the EOS name, or just the person's name, which I think is actually probably faster and easier, because I struggle to find the person's username in time to chat. And then you're supposed to press enter at the same time, and then that would kind of remove the bias. But what happens is not everyone presses enter at the same time, and then maybe in the split moment they aren't, or maybe people don't even vote at all using that method. So it does create an opportunity for bias. What Martin is saying is, if there's a UI which many people have mentioned this kind of thing, if you reveal it at the same time, then it removes the possibility of bias.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that does. I mean, in the meantime, before we have the UI, we can also, I suppose, remove that by just being more coordinated and patient. Like if somebody's not ready, like that's happened to me too. I understand what Josh is saying now. That's happened to me in the past, but then the last Fractal meeting, I think I was like, wait, I'm not ready. And so that's something that we can do. And then also just
we were all ready.
Okay.
We were all.
Yeah,
okay.
that's only one. That's
and
only
I said 3, 2, 1, 0, go. And then the people post, and myself, I was seeing who is voted, and I voted the last one. Because I was like, no, I am my fingers.
So you cheated then.
Patrick.
Oh, don't worry.
But I say,
we do our best. We do our best,
Yeah, but I don't think it's a problem for now, because we're in a smaller group, and it's also important. We still build the consensus, and people can explain and change their vote. I don't see a problem there. I think when we're thinking about a product in the future, we want to remove these kind of problems.
Yeah, we can remove
for
all
now,
what we want. That's good. That's a baby experience. We have to go step by step. Don't be worried.
One reminder before we go to Felix, that's just one way to achieve consensus. You don't have to use that process. a process that's suggested is basically like don't put anything in the chat, don't use an external tool at all for now. Just come to an agreement with the people in the room on who's going to be assigned the most amount of tokens based on the contribution that they're representing, and that's what the majority of people use. I think historically in all these weeks in the thing that we do on Saturdays, but people also use other methods. Like somebody has one gentleman, Igor, has built a tool, like an actual interface that could be another option to like doing the chat blast in the Zoom.
Galaxy.do.
So part of the value of having these every week is people come up with creative ideas to come to consensus, and then the nuances of coming to consensus are revealed. Like for example, if you use like the tool that Igor built, the caveat is have a discussion, use the tool to help you, but don't use it to take away from the human element of coming to consensus, more or less, and just kind of just be like a robotic a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if Igor has changed that tool, but one of the pieces of feedback that the Fractal team gave him was that the fact that you can see in real time everyone's rankings sounds at first like a feature, but it's actually a little bit it goes back to you get a little more bias, because if somebody just changes first, then it kind of anchors you in your mind to thinking about that in a particular way. So that's why the white paper talks about like a commit reveal process, where you kind of commit what you think and then reveal it.
And another things to maybe improve the things, it's to incentivize the people to put their links to what they have contribute, not only speak, but put the links on what they have done. Otherwise, you have no proof of evidence what they have made. They are just speaking. So if you are, but it's like to say, if they don't put a link, they will be ranked less. But I speak for myself. I prefer to see someone putting into the chat what he has made to contribute into the chat or into the mind maps somewhere. And
but even the act of publishing something and creating a link for it is wasted effort in a lot of cases, right? Like you can work and not have not waste any effort publishing it if it's not ready to be published, right?
I understand.
Yeah.
It's difficult to say, because you have not published the link, you have made nothing. No, maybe exactly. You have a lot of things and you have not the time to do the links. So indeed, you have made a lot of work. You, Chuck, you posted not a lot of links, but you are doing a lot. So
okay, I'm gonna mute everybody again and turn off the ability to unmute yourself. So everyone just raise your hands, and because we're not honoring Felix here, we've all interrupted him a few times here trying to say something. Go ahead, Felix.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I was just wanting to bring up, since I guess we basically have the majority of everyone here, I think whether we do this in further weeks or we could do it now, I think talking about the topic first of like, who are we allowing to be a part of this Eden Fractal? Do you need to be an Eden member or not? I think at first I was kind of split on if you should be an Eden member or not. And then, some James kind of brought up, and other views as well, that, if anyone who's contributing to EOS should be able to join here. And then it started making me think like, well, maybe that's not a bad idea, because then maybe this would be an even better way to help vet who we bring in as a member to Eden, because that's the one thing I don't really care for too much, is if we're pushing Eden membership, but then we're just bringing in a bunch of random people, and then it's hard to measure like, well, how do we know that they're a good member or not? So maybe maybe this is the prior step before actually becoming an Eden member. But I do think that this is an important discussion that we as a group should come to a consensus, so we know moving forward, if people start asking, oh, do I need to be an Eden member to participate or not, we are kind of in sync. At least we know we as a group reach a consensus on like a definite answer.
Thanks, Felix. So I'm not sure if everybody can unmute themselves if they want, or if Joshua made it so that you have to raise your hand. But
let's just do hand raising, because we're talking over each other and stuff.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, if we're able, there's only 9 of us, so if we're able to respect each other, then that would be best. But we were kind of, speaking over each other a bit, so I understand why Joshua did that. But yeah, I think that's an interesting discussion. I mean, my thought is that we probably don't need to limit it to Eden members, because like fractally the method, like us meeting here, we already have like that civil protection, and like for example, I invited a friend who I grew up with this morning, and he was here actually in the very beginning, but then he had to leave for a different reason, so he couldn't actually wind up participating. But I didn't want to have to make him like go to do the induction process and pay 3 EOS to attend and stuff like that. I feel like these events can be a great way for, like you mentioned, Felix, like people can learn about it and then people can actually join Eden after if they're interested. But I feel like this can be a great way to just keep it really simple, make it so, hey, if you're interested in learning more and just hanging out, then join us at this time, and then the conversation about actually starting an Eden member can start if people are interested. But I feel like it creates more of an obstacle that isn't really necessary at this point. And I see Chuck has his hands raised. I don't know how to unmute Chuck yet. Hold on. And I also see James too. I think that I can do it like this. Ask to unmute. Okay, I asked both Chuck and James to unmute.
All right, there we go. No, I completely agree, and I Josh, I agree with you that these can focus on Eden, and of course, Dan, these can focus on onboarding for Eden. And it's just a way of showing that we're actually like normal people who can get together and achieve consensus and talk about what we're doing and what needs to be done. And I give out rewards, right? Like if somebody comes in here and they know nothing about Eden, or they've been invited by somebody, they can be popped into a random room. They don't know anybody, and they just say, "I'm brand new," and then they're given number 6, and it's or number 1, or whatever the hell we're going to call it. And nobody, it's fine. Like they didn't contribute, but it's fine. They were there, and they get some sort of little token of appreciation. So it's a fantastic way to onboard people, not only to Eden, but to EOS in general, because you can, if your first action is to set up your friend's EOS account, and your second action is to invite them to one of these things, they see that there's a bunch of normal people who are going to be working every week to achieve stuff, and we're going to try to outwork each other. Like that's a pretty good dynamic, right? And it's a good way to, I think it's and any, you talk about what Doug did, with a 24-hour marathon, like that's a heck of a lot of work, and it wasn't for Eden, it wasn't for anything, but it was for EOS. Anyway, I'm blathering, but I totally agree that this should be open to everybody. It can be open to everybody. We were talking about DeFi and Yield Plus in our room, and it'll be fantastic to get Eden in on Yield Plus, and using our NFTs. They could be backed by tokens, they could be backed by real value, and just imagine if there was a scenario where you could come to one of these meetings and earn these NFTs, but you could only stake them and earn yield on them if you were an Eden member. It's a really good carrot, and not stick. It's just a carrot. It's just a way to get people involved, and the more deeply you get involved in it, the more bonuses you're going to get. Like if you get paid in an NFT that's worth 10 EOS, and then you can stake it and earn 5% a year on it or something, or 3% a year, anything, it would just encourage people to lock up value into Eden. I'm done.
Yeah, my thoughts are basically we're the Eden Fractal, because the mission of Eden is to improve EOS. At least as it is written today. So the name Eden Fractal, maybe it's confusing to people, but like in the sense that people might think you have to be an Eden member to be in the Eden Fractal. But I would say either we change the name to EOS Fractal or something to make that less confusing, or we just focus on the educational aspect of saying like, it's like just the name is the Eden Fractal, but that's not because it's limited to Eden membership. We're just trying to focus on bringing value to EOS, and this is our name that we chose for ourselves, so you can join our community if you want. That's all. I just wanted to add that.
Cool. Thanks, James, and thank you, Chuck, for the thoughts. I see James and Patrick, or not James, I see Felix and Patrick have your hands raised, and there's also a quick thought I want to share there. And also, too, I don't know if Vlad's still here, but I would love to hear from Vlad. I haven't heard from him yet. I know he was ranked 6th, so if you're still listening, Vlad, and if you'd like to speak or say a couple words at some point, I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, I was going to say quickly there, so I was thinking a lot about our discussion, James, about like helping Eden, helping EOS, and so forth. And like on the website of Eden, it says like Eden is a community of people who are working together to help increase the independence and power of its members, thereby securing life, liberty, property, and justice for all. So I feel like both helping EOS as a whole, but then also helping the members of Eden or just members of Eden Fractal who are largely Eden members and like to support and help Eden can be a good way. Like I'm also happy to change the name and add additional names. I think that we could have different brands for this potentially. That's something we can discuss. So lots of interesting things that we can discuss. But anyway, I see Patrick and Felix both had their hands raised, so I'll unmute you guys both. I think Patrick had his hands raised first, but Felix brought up the discussion topic, so I suppose we can decide who wants to speak first. But Patrick, just please be aware, you were kind of over speaking Chuck before, and so please just be aware of people with the raised hands, and let's try to all be respectful of each other. And I'll unmute you both.
Yeah, I'm unmuted, but I know Patrick had his hand raised first. If he wants to go first, or if he wants to give it to me, it's up to him.
Okay.
Okay, I will go first, and I will be very brief. So you have to see the video that we did with Dancing Joy, with Felix Ruiz, because it's not an advertising video. It's a breakdown video, as I do always when I do workshops, and we break down into what is Eden Fractal, why we need Eden Fractal, how it works, etc. And about the name, we can choose whatever name we want. That's not the problem, but we need to understand what we do and why we do the things. So what we do, for my understanding, to have discussed with Dancing Joy and Felix Ruiz, we have discussed on that. We want to bridge the gap between EOS and Fractally, and to use Eden as a vehicle to go there. So that's why it is named Eden Fractal, and there will be a fractal, but there can be multiple fractal. So if you go into the video, this is time-stamped. You don't have to watch the entire video. This is time-stamped. That's very well made, and you can understand better what it is. And after we can debate what is the better name, what should be the better name, but the intent is what matters, and find the mission and the context. Voila. And the name after is just a name. And I am going to give to Felix.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, so I guess a couple thoughts that are coming to mind is, so I guess part of the reason I was on the other side, as far as feeling like you should be an Eden member, was because of the funding coming from the Eden Treasury. But like I said, I am kind of now more on the other side of, I do think we can have multiple Eden fractals. So if the Eden community as a whole wants a specific Eden member one, then maybe we can make that one. And some things that also come to mind that I think would be interesting is, as time goes, if this, continues to gain traction and people find value in this Eden Fractal, this could be something that, chief delegates, we got Chuck here, that we could propose as a bylaw of perhaps maybe this would, like I said, this kind of goes back to maybe you need a certain amount of respect within the Eden Fractal in order to become an Eden member. Because then that is like a second, this is another layer of vetting members who are coming into Eden. So I don't know, that's just an idea I thought I'd share. That's a little farther out, but those are kind of things that come to mind, and that's why I do like more. Yeah, it'd be a little less frictionless too if we just open up this Eden Fractal to everyone. And so yeah, perhaps if we need to name it something else though too, because I think my initial thoughts of thinking that it should be Eden members only also kind of falls in line with us being called the Eden Fractal. So then and also taking from funds from the treasury, it starts, I think, initial thoughts too. If people see that, then they might come under that assumption, even if that may not be the case. But yeah, that's all I had.
Thank you, Felix, your thoughts, and I will unmute James right now.
Hey, I actually just had to say that I need to run and my headphones are dying, so at times they could die at any second. But that also means that my video recording is going to be done. So I don't know if anyone wants to record the rest of this, then you may do so, but at least my recording of both the video and chat are not going to be continuing.
Okay. Thanks, James.
But thanks everyone for coming. This is pretty cool. I'm excited to see where this goes, and see you guys next week.
Hey, thanks, James. Before you hop off, I feel like we've reached probably a decision, but if you had to, if we are going to take a vote, I'm going to take that but I'd like, I guess, get verification from you that what your vote is on this.
My vote. So I think firstly, we don't have to decide the mission and name by any particular moment. Obviously, the sooner and the better. While we're young as a community, that's the best time to do it. But I don't think there needs to be a real imperative or sense of urgency for like getting this done before next week or something like that. But that said, my vote currently would still be that the mission of this community is actually to focus on EOS. I don't really have a vote. I think I could be convinced either way to call this. I think the Eden Fractal's fine, to be honest. I think it's fine with that name, and the mission would be to contribute and bring value to EOS, because I do think basically the way I've laid out the logic is people that are like really interested in fractal governance and like want to promote fractal governance, a lot of them are on the Fractally meeting. And so who's left in Eden, and the people that are not in that group are the people that like don't really care that much. They're just looking for tools and ways to contribute to EOS, and that's why they're in Eden. And I think this could be that's one of the main values that Eden is that it's a tool to bring value to EOS and meet others in the community and whatever. So I see this as a very similar mission to Eden.
I was also just kind of referring more to the vote of, are we keeping it open like to everyone? Because I think that helps, because then we can basically go to the Fractally meetings and be like, hey, anyone, because there are people that aren't in Eden, and we say, hey, we're doing this. We're open to everyone. So when people come and ask us, we've reached a consensus amongst this group, so we can firmly say, yes, we agree, we're allowing it for everyone.
I definitely think it should be open to everyone. Even the comment you made about the treasury doesn't, I don't really agree, because like the delegates can use their funding on whatever they want. You could fund a contractor, and that money is coming from the Eden treasury, but you're just doing something to bring value to EOS. So in the same way, if delegates want to fund this, it doesn't have to be an official thing. It's Chuck is like, I see value in the Eden Fractal, so I'm going to fund it. And that's the way he chooses to use his delegate funding. Doesn't mean there needs to now be some restrictions on this tool that it can only be used for Eden membership. So I definitely think it should be open to everyone, and that's the best way to get the maximum number of people contributing and bringing value to EOS. That's the vision I see, but I understand there's people. I think Dan Singjoy has other thoughts on that, so I'll let you guys continue to debate while I jump off.
Thanks so much, James.
Yep, take care.
See you, everyone.
See you. Peace. Thanks. I would also, I'm still going to be hanging out for the next half hour, so if others would like to as well. But I would also love to hear from Vlad, and I'd love to hear more from Martin as well too. And also Jay hasn't spoken here too. But if maybe first Vlad would like to speak, because you were ranked number 6, and so I'm curious what your thoughts were on the process. I mean, unless anybody else has something else that you'd like to say first. Oh, you can unmute. Okay. I thought I just asked you to unmute yourself. Asked to unmute?
Okay, I changed the settings, Vlad.
Okay.
Oh, good. Well, it seems that developers are valued, but in terms of the process itself, if like you couldn't see what everybody posted in the chat, I don't think we would have reached consensus, because people were posting like multiple times, and so yeah, it just gave me thoughts of how the front end should look for it to function. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. And yeah, I'm interested in hearing more about. I mean, I know you shared the mock-up for the front end last week, and I heard that you spoke with James Mart, and I think you expressed some interest in helping build some sort of tools for Eden or for the Eden Fractal. So yeah, I'm very interested to hear more about that whenever you're ready to share, or feel like sharing either now, or maybe we'll reach out sometime later this week or something like that.
Yeah, like we spoke briefly with James, and he already started with the smart contracts, and now as like I'm half listening what you're saying, but at the same time I'm trying to continue with the setting up the tooling. I'm having some problem, and yeah, I'm interested in working on the contracts on the front end, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, yeah, thanks for working on that. But I didn't realize that you were working on that currently, but that's awesome. Also, Joshua said, let's give Vlad financial resources to help improve the experience so others want to participate. And so, yeah, I agree. I know Vlad had suggested at some point that funding would be helpful, or compensation to build this tool set. So I suppose I'm not sure what would be helpful in terms of how much funding or when or stuff like that, Vlad, but I suppose you have an opportunity now if you'd like to share more about what would be helpful in terms of funding, or we can shelf that and come back to it later, or if you have any ideas or thoughts about that. And I'm also curious too, like you mentioned last week that you might be able to have a tool ready in like a few weeks. So I'm wondering if you have any ideas about like about timelines about when these things might be built or something. I don't know if that's out of the scope here. We don't have to get into it too much, but those are just some things I'm curious about.
It depends. Too early to say. I need to first to see how much James will do, then the way the James is using a little bit different method that I am, so I need time to get accustomed to his code. So in regards to funding a little bit later, I will try to estimate everything, and we need to think really what features we would like to see as well. So it will depend a lot on that. And I need to understand more the process as well. For example, will we submit one, like as we did today, that we submit each time one rank altogether, or we submit them 5 or 6 persons at the same time. So there are some things that I need to get clearer, and then we can discuss again.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Thanks, Vlad. Thanks very much. And I will unmute Patrick. I see his hands up too. Good. are you able to speak now, Patrick?
Okay, so I have a proposal that's come directly from my heart, my soul and my mind. I will give 500 EOS for this initiative. So you can write that, Dance Enjoy. I will give 500 EOS from Nova Crypto for this hidden fractal process, because I believe in that. Whatever the name will be, the intent are good. That's the right way to do the things. Currently, I don't see other proposal like that into the EOS ecosystem. So to bridge the gap with Fractally, however, that we have don't seen any demonstration or something of the software that will come in Q3 or Q4. So until there, we have the time to do the things. So I am with Felix, I am with Dance Enjoy for that, and thank you, Joshua, to have launched the to push Eden forward. That's what we want, and I agree we need more than just Eden members into that, because what we want to do is raise value for EOS, not only on monetary sense but into the collaboration versus competition. So I will give 500 EOS for this cause. If you are okay with that, let me know. I will do.
Yeah, sounds great, Patrick. Thanks so much. That sounds awesome. To be more, just to make sure I understand correctly, are you proposing or suggesting like to give 500 EOS to fund these fractals?
Pool.
So it's
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I have received funds from Pomelo Season 2 for mindweb.io. I am very grateful for the donors and the contribution that I received from mindweb.io. And I was thinking what I can do with those funds. I was thinking to pay for EOSBs to do translation for the mind maps. That's clear. I will also pay other for marketing, for example, by Dance Enjoy for nice background, white paper, or and maybe Felix for nice videos. And now I am thinking, okay, we have this hidden fractal, we need a pool of funds, and I have funds into my account coming from Pomelo. And for me, Pomelo can also, we said that into the video, Pomelo can also be the avenue to do more public goods, and not only on Eden, on Fractally also. So for me, that's the natural way to go. That's come obvious now, just into this call now, that I have to contribute for one time with that, because I have received and I want to contribute to the pool. Other can do also, but I have some funds and I want to use that wisely and intelligent. And I think to put that into Eden Fractal could be interesting. I did the same with EOSBs, Jesse Jaffe last year when he was launching the EOSBs. I was the sponsor and I have paid for a banner on powerup.io by John Boyd, 200 EOS for that. And today I propose to give 500 EOS for Eden Fractal. Voilà.
Okay.
That's I will send those funds to the account that you will give me, Dance Enjoy. Okay. And I do that just after this. I do that just after this video. 500 EOS. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. And why? Because I love this EOS ecosystem. We need more engagement. That's not the word today, Joshua. We need more. He's no more with us. So yeah, we need more engagement. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much, Patrick. And so we can discuss. I still haven't made the account yet, and I would also like to decentralize the account and start up a multi-sig. So if anybody's interested here in joining that, so it's not just me having the account. I still haven't actually created it. I got the Fractal name, but I would propose that we do it on eden.fractal, and then we decentralize that with whoever is interested. And then I'll let you know when we set that up. And then Patrick, you can decide, or we can discuss about having that where we continue to do 100 EOS per week. And that means that we have a runway of because I have 300 or 400 EOS. That means we have 8 weeks or 9 weeks, something like that. Or if you want to do more at one time or something like that.
No, I give in one time. 500 in a row. Boom, 500.
Right. Well, I mean, we can determine the distribution schedule in terms of whether we want to give
Oh, yeah,
100 per
sure.
week,
You do what you want.
or we want to give
But,
more or less or whatever. Yeah. And then also we can work with Vlad for funding with that proposal as well when that's ready. And then also we have like 15 minutes left or so. I don't know if Martin would like to share anything more. I'm always thrilled to hear what you have to say, or also Jay. I heard him speaking to Jay before.
Say something.
Yeah.
I got 2 points that, like, following the conversation, I can contribute. One would be like, I like the name Eden Fractal because it kind of goes full circle. We started with Eden like a year ago, where a lot of people read the book, and then the idea went into Fractally, and now it's coming back, but it's incentivizing the ecosystem again. And there's a decision, and we're trying to make realistic contributions. So I think that's well reflected in the name. That's my personal opinion and my feel. The other thing about Vlad, what is the code that you're currently working with? That's something I don't know. Are you aware of the code base that the Chinese Eden is currently working with? They already forked the code, and they're making adjustments to the parameters, like the frequency, how soon the meetings are, and they're doing this also for the chief delegates at the moment. So there is already like an open version. Because what's the scope of this? What we're trying to have as an interface right now? Are we basically to do something like what the Fractal team is doing, just trying to do it faster, or can we build something on top of the current Eden UI? Because we have the Eden UI, it's working nice. It has a Zoom integration. It has the voting mechanism. We would need to change the voting mechanism. We would need to change into the rating. We would need to change the frequency of the meetings. But the UI is already there. There's already like the EOS integration. So is this something that would be of value to build on top of something? Because the way I see it, like the Eden was the first Fractal, right? And then in a way, right? It was the first idea. And then Eden China did their spin-off, and it's the second Fractal. And now we're doing a third Fractal, which is just taking over the Fractally rating and the frequency of the meetings. That's the iteration that I see right now. But the idea of having regular meetings and everybody can come in and get rated and show their contribution, that's something that really brought the life back into the community and introduced everybody to each other and created this new, it created a new kind of like, brought more wind and dynamics into everyone because we started communicating regularly with each other. And I think that would be my idea, like, can we build on top of what the Chinese fork of the Eden code base already has? Because there I see communication. There I see more collaboration on a developer level. They already spent like 2-3 months on working on that.
Now, since James started completely new repository from scratch, and since he's like working in Fractally, I guess he understood that it's better to start like from zero rather than using the previous code, but I don't know.
No, I will talk to James then. Are you guys also in touch with NS James?
No.
Who's like he just got hired by the NF as a developer communications and relations. So that's maybe something where he could help like with resources or with like guidance. If you have questions or if James has questions, I think that would be something where he would be interested. Like
Martin.
So yeah, that was my 2 cents. Yes.
That's for this reason we do the brainstorming session on the Monday, and we call it Fractally on EOS. The fact that Jesse Jaffe is leaving for the moment, that was the last call yesterday, this Monday, week 12, doesn't mean that he will not come again. He stated, I will come back when I see that Fractally, that EOS will need also Fractally. And that will be the case. At a point, the EOS community, when I say the EOS community, I mean a lot about ENF. ENF with what they are doing with the EOS.io coalition and all that. They will see at a point there is a good benefit to go with Fractally. But it is just early because that will be on Q3, Q4 that the software will be released. When, sorry to say, when Douglas Butner was stating there is zero line of code release, that's harsh. they are code of Fractally, but not yet released into the GitHub. That's right. We cannot see with the eyes, but that will come. So what I want to say here basically is there is the ENF, there is EOS on one side, there is Mandel, there is Fractally LLC on another side, there is Eden somewhere here. And the people want to put names on boxes and say, we name it that like that. We name it that like that. But indeed, all that is collaborative circles around EOS, and we need to collaborate at the best. So for this reason, if everyone is collaborating without to think always, what's the name of a thing? What are the names of the things? But just do it and collaborate. They will do a fantastic job. So you're right. There are people that don't need money to collaborate, and there are other people that need to see some value, monetary sense. And with this Eden Fractal, you can name it that like you want, but for me, it's the right name. That doesn't mean that that should be only Eden member. That should be also other members outside of Eden. They just want to collaborate by using the Fractally process. And sure, if there are Eden members, it's good because they are already vetted and trusted. So I think that's the word today: collaboration, 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 and do the things. And this group is a precedent because I don't saw that since that I am since 2018. I have never seen a group like this to do that, and the intent is that collaboration. So Jay.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you for your contribution. That's huge. Contribution in EOS, in addition to all the other contributions. I did want to touch upon what Martin said, and concerning the name of Eden.Fractal, which Dan has already acquired. I think it's awesome. I think it's perfect. And here's what my line of reasoning is that the word Eden, it's hard to brand and trademark, the word Eden, but if you put it together with another word, it has a connotation of just like Genesis is a starting event. And Eden, the word Eden kind of has, the initial, the Garden of Eden was the first creation of the first garden. And so Eden Fractal, it's representative of who we are. And it doesn't have to be Eden on EOS. It doesn't have to be overly attached to the word Eden. It can be used in its general sense of, hey, we're the Eden Fractal. And it's open up to members outside of the Eden on EOS membership community. I think it's a beautiful evolution of where we want to go, where we are going. And I think it's a great call, Dan, seeing joy on acquiring that. And I think I think it'll be fun to just run with it because once people understand who we are, we're an open community, not a closed community. We're not trying to seize somebody's brand. We're not trying to steal the Eden on EOS community. We're trying to actually be a mediator. We're trying to usher in the evolution of EOS into the next combination of chains that can be part of inter-blockchain network system that helps, global community. So I see it as a win-win-win. I like Martin's point a lot. And then just to pick up on Patrick's point about Dan Larimer's vision, to the extent that I was understanding what Patrick was saying, I think I'm in very much agreement with that, is that I am new to the community, but I am very excited about it and I see the potential future. And so when you look at global growth and network effect, that I don't think we can predict what the future is going to be 6 months or 12 months down the road. And I was very happy to hear Dan Larimer's answering direct questions like, how could Fractally and EOS either work together or become integrated or have cross transactions. And then the way that he explained it, one bird's eye view of the two chains, he said that essentially, this is my paraphrase of what he said, is that, EOS smart contracting system, it can be upgraded. You could swap out the block producers. You could do a soft fork upgrade. You can fork the entire thing. You could give the EOS token holders an alternative? Do we want to go with, I'm using past examples. Do you want to form an EOS Classic, an EOS Next Evolve chain, and you can have a friendly split of a chain, as a win-win solution. And so those opportunities, I think, can be communicated in a way that all of our options are open. We want to be a friendly community, and to the extent that we could, literally combine treasuries and forces, or have a staking of 2 coins into a basket and have, the basket chain or whatever we want to call it, that there are solutions ahead. We don't know what they are yet, but the opportunities are valuable to us. And but now, and then just that was the bird's eye view. The focus point of our next action step is, you could use the analogy of, let's build a snowball. And the way that you do that is you get a handful of snow and you pack it as tight as you can into a nucleus that's strong and it's built to last. And then you start to slowly roll the nucleus of the snowball forward. And then pretty soon you have a network effect. So thanks for letting me chime in, because I am very excited about it. I love the name Eden Fractal. I have a breakfast. I'm not going to eat, but I have a breakfast meeting that's starting up right now. Please don't be offended that I'm jumping off the call right now. I have to go join the next group. But I love this morning. Thanks, you guys, especially Dan, for spearheading it. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Thanks very much.
Thank so much, Jay. It's no offense at all. Hope
Thank
you
you,
enjoy.
Jay.
And thanks for all the great thoughts and seeing you, and looking forward to next week.
Yeah. Cool.
See you next week.
Yeah. I've also got to go for another meeting in 5 minutes. So I just wanted to say that I'll still hang around until just before the meeting starts, if everybody will. But I just wanted to say, I might just sneak off if somebody's in the middle of a sentence. But I just want to say thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it so much, and it's so awesome, and it's been great hearing from everybody's thoughts. And this meeting was really exciting and fun. And yes, I thank you, Vlad, Patrick, and Martin, and Felix. And then I'm really looking forward to the future with next week, and then what we do with the Eden Fractal as well.
Thank you, Dan, to have organized that, and Felix and Joshua also. Yeah, for sure.
I have one last thing, as food for thought, maybe. A lot of people speak about a next trend in Web3 or whatever. The hyped thing might be DAOs. We don't have the name DAO in Eden or in Fractally, but it is essentially already an iteration of DAO, because it manages not only the token distribution and the voting, it also manages how we cooperate and how we value cooperation. So what I have in mind, or what we can think in this direction, there are a lot of service providers right now that help you spin up a DAO, but how would an Eden framework look, and how would the one page look? What are the unique selling points for Eden compared to all these other frameworks like SuperDAO or whatever it is? There will be a lot of these frameworks coming up, similar like we had NFT marketplaces like OpenSea coming up, or Rarible or Atomic Hub. We will see interfaces that help you spin up a DAO. So Eden and Fractally, or the Eden Fractal, has a couple of features that other DAOs won't have. How do we communicate these? And how would this look like? And I came to this point because I know Brendan Lovejoy is joining Consensus, and there will be also a lot of people talk about DAOs. What would be a one page, or what would be materials that we can produce in order to give it in his hand? How can we really work out these little unique points that Eden and our community is working with at the moment, these tools? That's just something that I would like to work.
Absolutely. I completely agree, and those are great ideas, Martin, and I would love to work on that as well. I'm looking forward to, and it'd be great to work together with you on that. And also, too, I wanted to say, obviously I don't have time to get into it too much right now, but I'd be happy to, we're going to be doing this meeting every Wednesday at the same time, so we can perhaps discuss it in the post meeting then. Also, the Eden Town Halls that Felix and I are hosting it on every Sunday. I don't know if that time works well for you. It's kind of later maybe, but we're doing that at 16 UTC. And then also, I'd be happy to meet at any other time in the week. I mean, as long as we're in the schedule to discuss these ideas more, because these are super exciting. So yeah, I'd be happy to do that, and looking forward to discussing more.
Cool. Yeah, as I just said, just food for thought for next week. Little homework for everyone, because this will be a process, and I don't want to do this alone, or I think we should do this collaborative.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
More than ever. That's the beginning, guys. We have to collaborate. We have to share. We have to do the things. We don't have to discuss long time to find a name, and forget to put
Recording
name on
stopped.
Forget to put name on the things, and just think about the intent, the actions, and the delivery. And the name, that doesn't mean anything, because we are so I will say we are so accustomed to put name on the things that we have forget that what is more important is to do the things fractally.
Yep, and I think that we can.
Since that we are born, we are fractal. We are fractally.
So, Patrick, I agree, and I do think there's interesting things to explore about having multiple names. That's kind of more fractal in a sense in the future, potentially. But
yes.
I do have to go now. But of course, you guys feel free to keep hanging around. I can make maybe Felix or Martin or Patrick or Vlad the host.
I gotta go to. Let's save up the energy for next week.
That's for this reason, Dan, before you go, that's for this reason I say to the guy, watch the video I made with Felix and Dan, because it's not just a good poster with my face and the face of Dan. Oh, Dan Sinjoy made the poster, and that's not me. He made the poster, so shout out to you, man. Good graphic with the face of Felix also, nice face. But that's not just a poster and an advertising video, that's a breakdown video.
Yes.
With Nova Crypto touch, and with my best English than ever, and we dive there.
That wasn't best English, but
but
I gotta head out to a meeting.
Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick.
See you guys.
I have to go as well, so I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
See you. Thanks
Take
so
care,
much.
guys. See you next week.
Take care. See you next week. Thanks. Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.